Rank 1, trainee. A bus from Jacksonville Airport takes you to Glencoe, Georgia, an hour south, then right into the swamps. The Federal Law Enforcement Training Center stands in the middle of nowhere. 1,600 acres of scorched Georgia land, shooting ranges, driving ranges, a mock town of 34 buildings. You came here because 2 years ago you applied to the Secret Service, passed a written test, a physical, a polygraph, a background check going back 3 generations, and a medical exam where they looked into every orifice. Out of 14,000 applications that year, 300 will make it to training. You are one of 24 in your class. You are 26. Before that, you spent 4 years in the Marine Corps and earned a degree in criminal law from a university that no one outside of Virginia has heard of. Your father is a police officer in Norfolk, 32 years on the force, retired with a bad knee and a gun in the safe. Your mother taught high school. You grew up in a house where arrest reports and school competitions were discussed at the dinner table. 13 weeks of basic investigator training, 10 hours a day minimum. Firearms, tactics, law, extreme driving, hand-to-hand combat, report writing. People from a dozen other federal agencies are training alongside you, but after the basic course, your paths diverge. Your path is another 18 weeks at the Secret Service Academy, the Rowley Training Center in Laurel, Maryland. That's where the real work begins. Counterfeiting, financial investigations, but most importantly, protection. Physical protection of people. You are taught to shield another person with your own body, and not metaphorically, literally. You practice this hundreds of times, the sound of a gunshot, grabbing the person you're protecting, pulling them close, turning them around, leading them away. Your body is a shield. No one makes you swear that you're ready to die. It's just understood. Rank 2, Special Agent Field Office. Your first assignment is Miami. You asked for New York, but no one in the Secret Service cares what you asked for. You are given an address, a start date, and a badge. Grade 7. In the federal pay scale, grades range from 1 to 15. 7 is the start of your career, with bonuses bringing your annual salary to $80,000. In Miami, that money gets you a 1-bedroom apartment in Kendall and a 40-minute commute each way on a congested highway. The Secret Service began as an office to combat counterfeiters in 1865, when a third of the cash in the country was fake. Presidential security was added later, after several assassination attempts in 1901. That's why the first years of any agent's career are spent investigating. Counterfeit bills, credit fraud, identity theft, cybercrime. You work like a detective. You handle cases, interrogate suspects, write warrants, and appear in court. Average Miami is Colombian and Venezuelan networks that print $100 bills of such quality that bank tellers cannot tell the difference. In a year, you'll be in 9th grade. In 2 years, you'll be in 11th grade. At the same time, you're being pulled out for temporary protective assignments. In the Secret Service, they call it pulling you off the beat. They call you and say, in 3 days, you'll be in Chicago, working on the vice president's visit. You drop everything, fly there, stand for 12 hours in a cordon, come back, and continue your work. No one asks if it's convenient for you. The average work week is 50 hours, but sometimes it's 70. In your 3rd year, you work with the local police on a case involving an underground printing press, a warehouse in Hialeah, 2 Cubans and a Dominican, industrial-grade laser printers and watermarked paper purchased through a middleman in Europe. 4 months of surveillance, wiretapping, coordination with the prosecutor's office. On the night of the operation, you go in first because you're the junior agent, and that's the way it's done here. The older Cuban is sitting at a table with a gun at his feet. He doesn't reach for it. You handcuff him, and he says something in Spanish that the interpreter later translates as, finally. Rank 3, Protective Services Agent. 4 years in Miami, and you're transferred to Washington. You didn't ask for it. The assignment came like all assignments in the Secret Service, over the phone and with no options. Your wife quits her job, you sell your apartment, and you move to the suburbs of Virginia because you can live in Washington on an agent's salary, but not with children and a car. You are assigned to protect a former president, not the one you thought of, another one. The name doesn't matter. What matters is that this man lives on an estate in Connecticut, plays golf 4 times a week, and goes to lunches that cost more than you'll earn in your entire career. You stand at the door of the restaurant. You sit in the car at the 16th hole. You check the route to the hospital in every city he stops in. You know what time he wakes up, what he eats for breakfast, what his dog's name is. He knows you by name and says, "Good morning" every morning, and those are the only words you exchange all day. You are part of the furniture that can shoot. Advance work is when you fly to a city 3 to 5 days before the visit and turn it inside out. Every hotel, every restaurant, every route. Where is the nearest hospital? Which windows overlook the entrance? Which hotel employees raise questions during the check? You walk the motorcade route and count intersections, bridges, underpasses, roofs from which the road is visible. All of this goes into the report. No one praises reports. They are only noticed when something happens. Grade 13. With bonuses for round-the-clock readiness and overtime, you make $160,000 a year. Your wife works from home, your daughter is 3 years old. You miss her birthday because the former president has decided to fly to Texas for a classmate's funeral. You call from the airport, your daughter picks up the phone and says, "Daddy, are you coming?" And you say, "Soon," and you both know that soon doesn't mean today. Rank 4, counterattack team operator. 2 years later, while guarding the former president, you apply to join the counterattack team, a special operations unit of the Secret Service. While regular agents in the protective unit cover the person they are guarding and lead them away, the counterattack team does the opposite. They turn toward the fire and suppress the attack. It is the only unit in the Secret Service that drives black armored SUVs and openly carries firearms. The call sign of the team assigned to the president is Hawkeye, plus the code name of the person they are protecting. Selection. 2 weeks at the Rowley Training Center. The physical part is not about whether you can do it. Most candidates can. It's about whether you can do it when your hands are shaking from fatigue in 40-degree heat after 3 hours of running in full gear. 3 pull-ups in a bulletproof vest with a 20-kilogram load. 1.5 kilometers in 9 minutes. Shooting after physical exertion, when your sights are blurry. Less than half of the more than 20 people in the group pass. Then there are 7 more weeks. Counter-ambush tactics, close combat, vehicle assault, tactical medicine. You passed. Now you ride in the 3rd or 4th car of the presidential motorcade, in a black Chevrolet Suburban with tinted windows, and in the trunk you have what turns you from a federal agent into a soldier. A short-barreled assault rifle, smoke grenades, a first aid kit with tourniquets and hemostatics. Your job is to get out and work toward the threat if the motorcade is ambushed, while the main detail takes the president away. In peacetime, you train 4 days a week, shooting, assault, medicine, physical training, and work 2 days on the road. You don't think about wartime, which hasn't come yet. Your wife says you've changed. You know she's right, but you can't explain exactly how. Maybe it's because you've become quieter, or because every time you go to a restaurant, you sit facing the door, count the exits, and figure out where to fall if it starts. Your daughter is 5, and she draws you in a suit with a gun, and you hang the drawing on the refrigerator and feel something that has no name in the reports. Rank 5, Agent of the Presidential Protection Unit. 3 years in the counterattack group, and you are selected for the Presidential Protection Unit. There is no higher assignment in the Secret Service in terms of operational significance. You are one of approximately 150 agents who work directly with the sitting president, and at any given moment, there are between 6 and 12 of them close to him. 2 or 3 are within arm's reach. You will be one of them. Agents are not recruited here through advertising. You are recommended by your superiors, known from previous assignments, and selected from among people who have proven that they can work quietly, quickly, and without mistakes. A mistake is when someone gets too close and you don't react. A mistake is when you didn't notice that one person in the crowd is standing with their hands in their pockets while everyone else is waving. A mistake is when a person in the crowd isn't holding a phone, but you decided it was a phone. The shift lasts 8 hours, but it never lasts 8 hours. The president is delayed at a meeting. You stand. The president decides to stop at a cafe that isn't on the schedule. You improvise, scan the room, block the exits until the advance team catches up. The president flies abroad. You fly a week before him. Mumbai, London, Tokyo, Riyadh. You see every city from the same perspective. Rooftops, basements, evacuation routes, the location of the nearest trauma center. In every city, you sleep 4 to 5 hours and eat whatever you can. You sleep on the plane because you can't sleep on the ground. You wear a suit, an earpiece, a badge under your lapel, and a gun under your arm. A Glock 19, 9mm, the same as every Secret Service agent. Dark glasses, not for style, but because the crowd shouldn't see where you're looking. You've learned to talk without moving your lips. An earpiece with a microphone on your wrist. Short phrases, code words. The carrier is moving. The president is walking. The room is clear. No threat. Hawk, immediate evacuation. This year, you've been to 34 countries. Your daughter started school and your wife sent you a photo. You were in Singapore checking the route from the airport to the conference center. In the photo, your daughter is standing with a backpack you've never seen before because you've been away from home for a month. You save the photo and forget about it 3 minutes later because a new route arrives and you have to walk it before dark. Rank 6, Shift Supervisor. 4 years later, you are promoted to Shift Supervisor in the Presidential Protection Unit. This is grade 14. And the difference between your former self and your current self is that before you were responsible for yourself, and now you are responsible for 6 to 8 people, each of whom stands between the president and a bullet. You decide who stands where. You decide when to change the formation. You decide whether it's a situation where you need to grab the president and drag him to the car, or one where it's enough to shift him half a step to the left and keep smiling for the cameras. You're 39. You've been with the Secret Service for 13 years. You've been on 4 continents in the last month. You've seen the president sign bills, yell at his advisors, fall asleep in his airplane seat with papers on his lap. You know things about him that his wife doesn't know, and he knows that you know, and in that silence is an agreement that no one has signed. You are not a friend, not a servant, not a confidant. You are a function with a name and a family waiting at home. Family. Your wife has learned not to plan vacations. Not because you don't want to, but because every planned vacation has been canceled over the past 3 years. The phone rings and you get up from the table. Your daughter is 9, and she explains to her friend at school that her dad works for the government and can't give any details. When you're at home, you're quieter than you'd like to be. You sit on the couch and watch your daughter do her homework, and 10 minutes later you catch yourself scanning the windows. One night in Jakarta, the motorcade is returning from dinner and the crowd behind the fence, 5,000, maybe more, begins to push. The fence bends. You see 2 of your agents move toward the president's car, and at the same time you see a man in the second row who is not looking at the motorcade, but at the roof. You say 2 words into the microphone. 14 seconds later, the president's car is already at the intersection. The local police are blocking the street, and the pair of snipers on the roof report that the coast is clear. The man in the second row turns out to be a journalist looking for his cameraman. Nothing happened. You sign the report and go to bed at 3 in the morning, falling asleep in a minute because you've learned how. Rank 7, Special Agent in charge of a division. Grade 15, you're 43. You head one of the Secret Service's key protective divisions. Under you are dozens of agents, the operations budget, coordination with the Pentagon, the FBI, the CIA, and the local police in every city your charge visits. You no longer stand next to him in the hallway. You sit in a room where you can see everything on the screens: cameras, sniper positions, entry points, ambulance locations. You see more than when you stood at arm's length and you feel less. That's normal. That's growth. Each successive rank takes you one step away from the person you're protecting and brings you closer to the system that protects them. You sign off on operational plans for visits by heads of state. You coordinate protocols with foreign intelligence agencies that both sides will violate, but which are necessary nonetheless. You speak at closed briefings in Congress and answer questions from people who don't understand what they're asking, and you explain patiently because the unit's budget depends on their votes. In 17 years with the Secret Service, you have never fired a shot at a person, not once. You have drawn your weapon. Yes. You've stood ready to shoot hundreds of times, but you haven't fired, and that's the whole point. Your job is done perfectly when nothing happens. Every day without a shot fired is a day when the system worked. Your daughter is 14. She has stopped drawing you with a gun. She asks why you never talk about your work, and you say it's because there's nothing to talk about. She doesn't believe you, and rightly so, but you're not lying. Most of what you do is paperwork, phone calls, coordination, and waiting. 20 years of preparation for a moment that may never come. And your entire career is an investment in maybe. You came as an intern who practiced capturing the protected person in the training room and became a person who moves other people around on a board that no one but you can see. The board is the same, protect one specific person. The pieces have changed, the rules have become more complicated, but the stakes remain the same. If you lose, the whole world sees it. If you win, no one notices.